Hi, everybody. Welcome back for episode 68 of Bandwidth and Banter.
68.
Someone next week is going to get a really lucky number for
Oh,
Bandwidth and Banter.
and it's somebody that I definitely feel like respects,
Mhm. Welcome back, guys. Druid IRL and myself are back again for Bandwidth and Banter. We have an amazing episode for you guys. Just like last week. Last week was Mia Mao Returns, right?
Yes.
Wow. Mia Mao has just been a longtime friend of the channel and, folks in the channel like Banana Tom. And we just adore her. She's always such a warm, engaging person and has that mom wisdom,
Yes. Love her.
Tonight, who do we have? A very special person. So I've known tonight's streamer for a long time, since like I first started. Somehow or another, we stumbled upon each other, and for whatever reason, we clicked. And I wish our schedules matched up so that we can see each other's streams more often. But life is what it is. We can catch each other from time to time. But man, he's a special person. He streams for Extra Life. He's hilarious with the dad jokes. He loves Star Trek, which is something that I'm a huge fan of too. And you can't go wrong with Captain Jim Raider89. And that's who we have tonight. Aren't you excited, Druid?
Excited. I'm excited so much.
Yeah, we've had Captain Jim Raider89 on our list to come on the show for a long time, and it just worked out that now was a good time for us to slot him in, and we appreciate him coming. And you know what? Let's have him on right now. Here he is. I love it with the face. Welcome, sir. Please reintroduce yourself and tell the folks a little about yourself.
Well, hello, friends. I am Captain Jim, and I'm thrilled to be here. I'm a Virgo. I like long walks on the beach. Hands laced, and this is the right area for that, right?
Absolutely.
Did we
Absolutely.
pick the right meeting?
Yep.
So I'm, Stormy and Druid have both said so many amazing things about me, and I'm very appreciative of it. And I'm thrilled to be here.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. So today we got some fun questions for you, and let's just jump straight to it. Who gets to go first? Oh, Druid gets to go first today.
Oh, Captain, my Captain, please share a boring fact about yourself.
A boring fact about me is I can recite every event, or at least I used to. I can recite every event of Dragon Ball Z from the Raditz saga all the way through to the end of the Majin Buu saga.
Wow. Are you sure that's a boring fact? That's kind of impressive.
It depends on who you
that.
ask. That's why I was always like, it depends on who you ask, because I was like, maybe we learn a different anime this time around. That's why whenever people talk about, what's your favorite anime? I'm like, I like Dragon Ball Z. And they're like Yu Yu Hakusho and Cowboy Bebop and all that. And I'm just like, yeah, but if you watch Dragon Ball Z, it's really fun content. So
I do agree with you. I'm a big fan of Dragon Ball Z as well, but right on. Great answer, sir.
I've actually seen some episodes of Dragon Ball Z.
Whoa.
Oh, I got made fun of for it for a while because I watched it as a kid, and my mother would always make fun of it because it was always them powering up every time she would like walk in, and she's like, "This is the 6th straight episode. They just stand there and scream. Are they constipated? Like what are you watching?" Like that's the question I have.
Honestly, that's one of the tropes that it was, they pioneered. Although I think really, I wouldn't say that Dragon Ball pioneered it. I would say they probably were inspired by, Fist of the North Star. Because I think it sort of did that a little bit too. And but Dragon Ball Z, they took that that space and owned it. So on that note, Captain Jim Raynor89, please tell us, how did you pick your Twitch name and what was the inspiration?
So just a sidebar real quick,
Yeah.
because I can have your chat pulled up here.
Uh-huh.
The person that would say it was boring just popped in the chat too, and because that's literally my sister. The one that says it was never ending, that's my sister.
Right on. Welcome, sister.
So my Twitch username was easy for me because I have been a lifelong fan of the StarCraft games. And everyone, I think, that's a gamer, both casual and otherwise, has some character that they just identify with, whether it's they're the hero or the heroine, or they are just someone who's hilarious. And for me, it was Jim Raynor, and I picked Captain because I don't know why, because in the games he's not. I guess technically he was a captain for about a cup of coffee, but he's been commander, marshal, basically every other rank you can think of, with the extended exception of captain. So it's fun for me to come in. They're like, Jim Raynor wasn't a captain. I'm like, you are arguing with the internet. What is wrong with you? So that's why I and the weird thing is too is that that's about the extent that my content identifies with StarCraft is the username, because as you alluded to at the beginning, Stormy, is I am about the biggest Star Trek geek that there is, and everything else that I have is all Star Trek themed to some extent.
Support.
Yep.
Oh, what D&D class do you consider yourself to be in real life?
Easy. Chaotic Bard.
Oh, okay. That suits. I believe it.
Chaotic,
yep.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. So even my sister said the same thing. So it was because I've played about 15 minutes of D&D in my lifetime. So anytime they would have those like squares of picking which characters you are, and I'm going like, who can help me out here? Because I have no idea what any of this means. So I believe it actually was my sister who was just like, it's Chaotic Bard, and if anyone tries to tell you differently, they're lying to you. So beyond that, I don't really know the full extent as to what that means. I just know that that's always been the default answer for me to provide that. So
that's a great answer.
I love that with my whole soul. Stormy?
Sorry, I was just responding to someone because I had to. I love this next question because, again, you and I have this in common. Our love of Star Trek. What inspired your Star Trek-esque stream theme? Besides, I mean, obviously Star Trek inspired it, but I mean, like, tell me about how that evolved. And
because I don't really see, and I think you both would agree with me that in a sea of content creators, you're very unlikely to find someone who does from top to bottom something that's entirely unique. Like everyone's going to take some variation of something that another content creator does and either do the exact same thing or they're going to make it their own.
right.
Yeah.
For me, I've just always loved StarCraft, Star Trek. I knew that there had to be some sort of a space theme to my channel, and whether or not we actually do anything with that beyond that, is entirely up to me. But for me, it was also the way I could use a lot of variants on my channel to my advantage and kind of be like, okay, yeah, we play games whether they're space games or not. That's really, really wherever the wind may take us. But it had to be Star Trek to some extent. And that's why I think one of my channel redemptions is literally !Locutus. And that's why I'm glad Audacity exists, because I was able to take a clip from Best of Both Worlds. And it's literally Locutus introducing himself. at the end of part 1.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I need to figure out some way to make it like an automatic thing to where I'm like, the moment I start up, it'll be right there and it'll play before I even come in. So
Firebot.
Got you. Message me.
Oh yeah.
I'll help you.
Oh yeah. No, I have I'm always needing to know more about Firebot because I have like very basic commands, but they do pretty much the job they need to.
I got you. I got you. I help.
Druid has the question. She wants to ask the
I
question.
can do it. I can help you. I use Firebot all the time.
Exactly.
So she gets the next question. I just want to pin a note here that later on after the regular interview, I want to add a question where we can talk a bit more about Star Trek. So you guys both refresh my memory that I want to ask him a few more Star Trek questions.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Druid.
Captain Kirk or Captain Pickard?
You can tell she's not a Trekkie.
Picard?
There you go.
Picard?
Picard, yeah.
Picard.
If you happen to look at the screen here and show the pie card that I have for you here, that is always probably the better question that gets asked because for me it's Picard. Who that? It's Picard because Picard more had the diplomacy and like the basically what it said about Kirk is that he's very much a womanizer. And I'm like, okay, I get that, but how many times has like literally Captain's Holiday is a TNG episode where Picard literally goes on a holiday and pretty much gets laid.
Yeah.
Or, he ends up having this lady that works in the science division and he somehow ends up getting laid. Like, we're just kind of overlooking a lot of the episodes of TNG where it's like, okay, yeah, Picard more focuses on like the family aspect and focuses very much on diplomacy and first contact, but we're like, when they focus on the romantic parts of Picard, man, oh man, he's Picard and Kirk, like right there. You know what I mean?
Great answer. I love it. And I agree with you 100%. All right. Switching gears a little bit here, brother. What book genre is your favorite? And what is something you read recently?
So as of right now, it's sci-fi. And I was actually, ironically enough, just talking with a buddy of mine who has gotten into gaming for the first time, really. And I told him about how there was a TikTok I saw that was kind of like video game talk and book talk all combined into one. And it was very much one of those things where it was like, if you are a fan of this or this, then you'll like this. And it's actually out of my kitchen counter or my dining room table. So it's a book called Velocity Weapon by Megan O'Keefe. So they basically said it was, if you like Mass Effect or you like Destiny, then you'll like this book. Completely accurate.
Oh, wow.
It was so accurate that I went out and I bought the other 2 books in the trilogy of books. Because each one of the books is about 500 to 600 pages long.
Yeah.
And I think Velocity Weapon alone had 82 chapters. But this is where my sister, I know, was going to make fun of me for this. She likes to open up the assassination door because I have this. This is literally Richard Belzer's book about the JFK assassination, and this is the 3rd book I have on it. So a lot of times she likes to play the whole game of opening up. She opens up the conspiracy door, and she'll just message me and go, "Who killed JFK?" And then she'll run away, and she'll go. She goes, exactly. See, she hit the nail on the head there. So I've been kind of reading that, and I'm telling you right now, man, I am. If you've ever watched It's Always Sunny, and it's the episode where Charlie Day's character is trying to figure out the conspiracies with the mail, and he's like, I got to tell you, man, I know who killed JFK. Like, they want to lie to me, man, but I know the answer to this question. So. Yeah, so I've been reading that, and I'm actually reading the second part of the Velocity Weapon trilogy now. But my problem was that I read the first book over a year ago, and then read other books since then. So now I'm reading the second book, and I'm like, when the hell did this happen? And I have to like revert back to the end of the first book. No, what the hell is this character, and why do I care? So
I sometimes do that when I'm watching a new anime season. If it's been a while from the previous anime season, I have to go back and rewatch the original season just to figure out what the hell's going on.
yeah.
I love it. All right, we're getting into the Twitch questions. So, oh, Captain, my captain, what drew you to Twitch?
Basically, original plans fell through. I went out and got a whole bunch of equipment because pandemic had started. I was going to find myself being home more often when I'm not at work. And I'm like, I want to do something fun. And my goal was a Star Trek podcast.
Nice.
Had some basic outlines for it. Kind of never really got off the ground. But I have a really nice computer. So I'm like, what's to stop me from just being a Twitch content creator of some kind? So that started back in, I mean, my Twitch card will say my account was created in 2019, but that was when I would like stream for like 15, 20 minutes and go, why is no one watching me? And stopped doing that, then came back to it later and said, I want to be, a content creator and have some fun and play some games and meet some new people, make some friends. And I've pretty much accomplished all of that and more.
Nice. Yes, and more. We'll get to that in a little bit. I can't wait to hear and for you to share about the more. In fact, I guess actually that's the next question. Was a deciding factor for you to become a charity streamer for Extra Life?
So this is also a really great story. I worked for a restaurant franchise based out of Ohio for about 7 years. And the best part about it is that they literally were raising money for the exact same hospital I raised for now. So I had become friends with the head of the program at that hospital, and it was a program called Caring for Kids. And it got towards the end of my time there, and the person who now heads it up now, her name is Samantha Straszewski. She was like, do you like video games and stuff like that? Do you like and whatnot? I said, yeah. And she goes, well, we have this program called Extra Life that raises money. So if you ever find yourself like you don't have to be a streamer, and that's the thing about Extra Life is you don't have to be a streamer. You can be a tabletop. You can literally just have an Extra Life campaign just to have it. I said, okay, I'll give thought to it. And then fast forward about 3.5 years later, and I end up becoming a Twitch content creator. I decided at that time, I was like, I'm going to look into Extra Life. And that was when I started my campaign. And I got my first donation in October of 2020. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it also worked out great because that was when I managed to circle back around and come full circle. And I joined all the Facebook groups and like the Discord and stuff like that. So Samantha is still the head of Extra Life to this day. And she literally goes, I was wondering when you would show up to this.
Wow.
And that was, So that was, I started back in, because my birthday's in September. So I started about the early to middle October 2020. Uh-huh. And in 2020, because the campaigns go year long.
Right.
So I raised $575 between October and the end of December of that year as my first year. So, but I guess to more specifically answer the question, what drew me to wanting to do it is that I wanted to have a sense of purpose. I know that there's a lot of, not everyone has the same reasons as to why they do it. And I'm not saying those reasons are bad by any means. I'm not saying if you're not a charity streamer, you're a bad person. That's, right. Certainly not what I'm ever implying. I wanted to be able to use, and I've always kind of done that. I wanted to use my time, and I wanted to use the time that I would have. If I'm going to sit in front of a computer, I might as well do some good. And I wanted to be able to help those that need the help the most. Mm-hmm. So to me, it was a no-brainer that I wanted to become part of Extra Life, and it's been that ever since.
Right on.
I love that.
Can you share with us what you shared while we were waiting to go live earlier? the token that you have that shows off how much you've earned for Extra Life? Because I think it's a big badge.
So I got this fun little bag about, I would say about a month ago, maybe a month and a half. So Extra Life announced last year that any Extra Lifer, whether you're part of the Platinum program or you're not, you raise $10,000 and you get sent this.
Oh, that's awesome.
Trying to pan it right with the camera because I'm just like up and down and up and down. So this is what you get when you've raised $10,000. And as I mentioned to you guys in the waiting room, by the way, thank you for having updated magazines in your waiting room. That was very nice of you.
You're welcome.
I'm a simple man. I like the highlights, magazines, the word searches.
Absolutely.
Good.
You're golden.
This was, to me, and again, I don't do it to have people be like showering me with praise and whatnot. I would do it anonymously, honestly, if it all was going to if that was a requirement, I would.
Yeah.
But Extra Life is a great organization, and they do a lot of really good things for kids. And for those of you who don't know what Extra Life is it's kind of like an organization within an organization. So they partner with, or they're a part of rather, Children's Miracle Networks. And it's spread all throughout the US. It's spread throughout hospitals in Canada as well. So with Extra Life, you basically get your choice of whichever hospital, so long as they're part of that you get to raise for. And I'm part of an Extra Life team. It's actually really funny because I'm part of an Extra Life team called Half Best Friends. So shout out Half Best Friends. Literally, they all raise for the same hospital in Watertown, New York. I'm the only person on the team that raises for a different hospital.
Oh, wow. Cool.
And it was cool because up until me joining that team, they didn't know you could do that. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of like a fun, like my team last year with my buddy Gory Details, who is basically my inspiration to become a bigger and better Extra Life content creator, period. We had, we had people raising for Rainbows, which is the hospital I raised for. And we had people raising for hospitals in Texas. And I think we had at least one that was raising for someone in Florida as well. So, it brings people together. We have a lot of fun. It also helped me, has opened the door to do more above and beyond things. I can sit here honestly and tell you, I have worn a French maid outfit for charity. There are highlights and clips on my Twitch stream that you can see me in the French maid outfit. And I just want everyone to know, yes, my boobs looked fantastic in that outfit, just so you're aware. And that was, like I said, it's one of those things where I wanted to go above and beyond, and I wanted to set myself apart because, as much as everyone's in it for the same reason, which is to raise money for the children who need it for non-billable care. Like if you have children that are in the hospital for an extended care, I know that they've just announced a few hospitals have created custom video game carts.
Oh, cool.
That kids who are in the hospital for a long period of time, they will literally wheel this in. I believe it has up to, like new generation consoles attached to this cart. So you can play like PS5, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, all those. So
the reason I had such a strong visceral reaction to you talking about streaming in a maid costume is because you and I actually have that in common. Although you shame me because you did it for a much better cause. But for my 500 celebration, they talked me into doing exactly that, and so I made pancakes for Star Kitty in a maid outfit.
Wait a minute, there are pancakes? No one made me pancakes. I feel ripped off. I was told there would be no math. Oh yeah.
There's one.
That was old Captain Jim too. That was my first ever subathon.
Someone found it. That's fantastic. Ooh,
that was a good and fun time.
I can't wait to see that later.
It's also funny, and it also goes to show how much my family supports this as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is that for that subathon, my goal was to hit 100 subs. My 100th sub was my mother. So
Let's
Thanks,
go.
Thanks, Mom.
Let's
Well
go.
done.
Thanks, Mom. What did friends and family think when you told them that you planned on streaming?
They supported it 100%. I had kind of gotten back into gaming a little bit more within like the last 4 or 5 years, something along those lines. And, I said, I'm going to be a Twitch streamer. And naturally my mother goes, what's a Twitch? I have no idea what that means. I was like, well, it's like a muscle spasm, Mom. But anyway, so yeah, there wasn't really, it was more so like the conversations. And I know that I've seen some where some family members and some friends are not as supportive, which I think is a major shame, because I think there's a lot, and people look at Twitch and they go like, oh, is that where you played the video games? And I'm like, no, it's not where you play the video games. Why do you talk like that? So I tell them, I'm like, you can do things like you can make stuff. I've seen people that will knit and crochet and make Legos and do a whole bunch of different stuff where you don't have to play video games.
Yep.
But I explained to them, I was like, Twitch is basically like a stream hosting site. It's a little bit more colorful because it's been around for a while. So, but everyone across the board either was kind of like indifferent, where they're like, hey, good for you, and then I don't ever really see them, but they don't not support it. Or I have people like my loving fiance and my family who make it a point to come in and be the dictionary definition of trolls in chat. So, if anything, I appreciate that. So
Yep.
So you got some trolls in your chat? Trolls in your chat?
Troll in the dungeon. Why don't you show?
So, Captain of the Zerg Destroyers, what struggles did you deal with when you first started streaming?
Sitting there and watching everyone else having success, and me wondering why I'm not having that same success.
Fair.
Me hitting a plateau and go, what the hell am I doing wrong? Like, why am I watching? And I don't know if it's a conversation we'll probably have here, but also at the same time, but watching other people who are doing stuff and having the success, and they're having like tens or even hundreds or thousands of people in their chat, and I'm going like, my problem I had was I kept looking at my viewer count. Yeah. That was my problem.
Yeah.
And it was one, and I almost always knew who that one was, because it was Commander Root. So thank you, Commander Root, for being
Shout out to Commander Root.
Shout out to Commander Root.
Shout out to Commander Root.
But it was definitely, for me, it was Raiders.
Thanks for the raid. Welcome in, Raiders. For you, it was
definitely having those struggles of looking at someone else and going, why am I not them? Like, what am I not doing now that they're doing now to where I can have that same success?
Right.
And I managed to work through that struggle, because I'm like, I didn't really get into this to be a full-fledged career. Like, I didn't really get into this. Would I love for it to be a career? Absolutely. But I look at other analytics and other stats more importantly than I try and do my average viewer count or how many viewers are viewing me. I've had my fair share of stream where Nightbot is the only person chatting in my chat for the entirety of the 2 hours. And then I've had others where I've had people where I'm like the wonderful struggle that I have for going, I have to pause now because I have to go back through chat and I have to read what all of you people say because I'm so lost. Help me. So you have those days that are days you don't expect to be good days, and you have those days where you expect to have like everyone and their mothers come and hang out. And I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's just my mother, and I'm very grateful for that because mom's just like, I don't know how to work this. So, but I managed to work past that. Do I still have brief issues with that? Yes. But I feel like having kind of done the smart thing and taking time off of stream. Like there was one time I think, because I was, computer issues kind of forced the hand for me, but I took about 8 months off of stream and I came back feeling, once I fixed it, I came back and I was feeling confident. I'm like, we're going to get back into the swing of things. But then there's times where I'm like, I will take off sometimes a week, week and a half, come back at it with a new attitude and come back at it with a new item or with a new idea rather. And it tends to kind of reset the clock for me.
Yeah.
No, that's good. In fact, that happened to me recently. Druid saw that I was experiencing some burnout and basically, I mean, force is a strong word, but she really encouraged, enticed.
I had a whole debate ready.
She did.
I
Luckily,
had a whole debate ready. I was ready.
she was. She talked me into taking a vacation, and I needed it, and it was worth it. And so I get you. I think that's a great lesson. Yeah, thank you.
I just see the cat's just like, for the love of God, just love me.
She does this. She'll just talk about bullying her way onto stream. Just, can I help you?
The tail, it's so cute.
Are you kidding me right now?
Can you just do a quick show and tell of the cat for me, please? If you
Come
feel
here,
just
Come here, you.
Oh, look at that fluff ball.
You want?
I knew Star Kitty would like that.
You can't hear it, but she is literally a motor engine right now. She's purring very loudly.
She's getting all the
love,
lovin's. Chubby kitty, yep. That's my girl.
love. I
yelled.
Oh, my heart and soul. Okay.
And to show you just how much, well, I don't know if I can really show it to you, but real quick on the extra life portion of it, there is extra life does go above and beyond for those that want to really, they incentivize. Like everyone can raise money, but like extra life will sit there and go, okay, if you raise certain amounts of money each year and you are part of their platinum program, you pay $19 and you reach certain milestones, they send you merch. Like for instance, I got this about a year, maybe 2 years ago. So let's run through it. I've gotten 4 t-shirts, 4 decals. I have a silver medal. I have 3 gold medals, soon to be a 4th because I raised over $1,000 this year. So yeah, Michael Phelps, you got some competition there, man. They've sent me my escape key on my keyboard is literally in the Extra Life logo.
Nice.
Which is on my Extra Life keyboard, which is on my Extra Life desk mat, and I'm sitting in a chair on top of my Extra Life gaming rug, which my cat is currently laying on. Under my bed is the Extra Life puzzle that's missing pieces. They go above and beyond, and
Nice.
there are some incentives that they'll do even for people who are not part of the platinum. But I know this year the big one is if you raise $2,000 by year's end, you get your choice of either a Nintendo Switch Pro controller, an Xbox controller, or a PS5 controller, and it is branded with the Extra Life color scheme and logo.
Wow, cool.
So I will say, and they are definitely very receptive. And by the way, Druid, they chose Captain Pie Card. In the contract, I was told she knew Star Trek. I was told she knew what we were talking about, Stormy. Like,
I failed you, sir. I fibbed.
I was just waiting for her to go, is it Captain Kirk or Captain Pie Card? So just the post-stream notes going, we're not inviting this guy back ever again.
Love it.
Welcome to the Comedy Central roast of Druid IRL, and I'm your host.
Her streams are a roast every time she streams.
Oh, Druid streams are a ton of fun to be in because I feel like there's more time spent on the pause screen because she's laughing so hard at the stuff happening in chat that she can't actually focus on the game.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm here for that kind of content. And I love that kind of content. And I know you're here for that kind of content. I heard you. So
Is the final word, okay? Guys, you're not allowed to tease me anymore for being on, standing in the middle of Elden Ring on a not pause screen, living life on the edge, okay? You heard it here, folks.
Right.
Heard it here. What tips can you share to future streamers?
just play the games you love, and everything else will fall into place. Don't please, unless you get it at like a super discount, and I mean free. Please don't go out and spend like $600 on equipment if you're gonna be if you have like 5 followers on your Twitch page. Like, get a computer with the software. Get yourself a halfway decent microphone, like a headset microphone. Headset microphones work just perfectly. Or if you have a little bit more, a Blue Yeti is a good pick as well. And just play the games you love to play. Like I spent too much time inundated in the top 10 tricks and tips for streamers videos that were on YouTube years ago, where they would be like, well, if you want to be a big streamer and you're just starting out, maybe playing Fortnite might not. We're not saying don't play Fortnite. We're just saying just don't be surprised if everybody else is playing Fortnite at the exact same time as you.
Right.
True.
But also at the same time, if you're going to start playing a game that nobody's playing and no one's watching, you're going to get the same thing. But I will say as well, that advice works. It works in both time frames. But nowadays, I feel like discoverability has greatly advanced as compared to like 2020, 2021. Because the difference being is that in 2020, when I first started, we were also in the midst of a pandemic. So I have a place that's up the street that from where I used to live called Micro Center. Micro Center used to have to do text lotteries for the people wanting to get GPUs, because the GPU market, there was such a huge demand for graphics processors that they couldn't meet the supply.
Yep.
So when they did have trucks that would come in, they would tell people, you have to stay outside the store, text us your number, and we're going to randomly select someone who will win a GPU. It wasn't even like if you're first in, first out, you are not guaranteed to get anything. Obviously in 2024, soon to be 2025, it's obviously changed. So I would say the best advice I can give is don't stress if you are streaming to 0 people a few times. It's going to happen. And then also, you are going to have way more success with what you do off stream than what you do on stream. So have a Twitter, whether it's you're combining your gaming or your personal. Have an Instagram, whether it's you're combining your gaming or your personal. And I just happen to combine both because I'm just lazy. But and not have it be like, if your Twitter is also just nothing but go live posts, I've also found that it kind of apparently turns people off, I guess. So that's why I tend to post I'm a huge football fan. I love sports, and I love talking about sports. I love talking about Star Trek. I love talking about Fallout. I love talking about video games. I love talking about books. I love talking about myself because I'm very interesting, I promise. So make conversations with people. Networking is as old-fashioned as that phrase may be. Get yourself like an electronic Rolodex. Get yourself like a nice book of contacts. Get involved in Discord. Meet new people. I'm not saying that everyone's going to be in there, but I'm telling you right now, it hurts my heart so much when I see people go, yes, I've been doing this thing called follow for follow. And I'm like, I will say in the one defense, there is one guy who I have been following and who has been following me since I started. We met through follow for follow, and he's been one of my nearest and dearest friends since. So I will say that it's not 100% a failure, but I'm telling you right now, in my opinion, and again, it can be different for anyone else. So, take my words with a grain of salt. Follow for follow doesn't always work the way you want it to.
Yeah.
You'll find yourself getting inundated with, I've got like 30 new follows. how many of them are actually going to stick around, especially the ones that you don't make as much of an effort to go into their streams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So, what do you enjoy most about streaming, Captain Jim?
Because I have a massive game library and I finally get to blow the dust off of all of the games that are kind of sitting around, and being able to find myself doing stuff, i.e. a French maid outfit that I never thought I would do, and helping myself to create content. And but I would have to say Extra Life would be my number one favorite thing. I have made so many amazing friends and amazing supportive people through that platform because I joined Twitch and because we had an easier way of being able to actually see and communicate with each other.
Mm-hmm.
That, yeah, for me it was just and having the constant support of the organization itself. Their social media platforms are insanely. There are people that are up at like 11:30 at night when you're tagging Extra Life in anything you do, and they're like, "Thank you, Captain Jim, for all the hard work you do." And I know that I don't think it's a pre-canned message, but I know they say a lot of the same things. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean any less to me because they took the time to come and comment on my stuff. And also, the fun part is that you can also tweet them and ask them literally anything; they will respond.
Wow!
And I actually asked Extra Life. I said, "Who do you guys main in StarCraft?" And they answered. And I love their answer too because they main Protoss, which means I am in the right group of people.
Right on.
Shout out. That's amazing. Oh, Captain, my Captain. How long have you been playing video games, and what was the first one you ever played?
I was thinking to myself, leading up to today, I was like, I have a feeling this question is going to be asked. I'm hoping that my sister's still here. I've been playing video games since 1995, maybe 96. No, it was 1995. And my first memories are, and my sister and I always struggle with this. And she's like, what's the game where you die and you turn into keys? And I was like, what? The game you die and I was like, oh, because we had the original Gauntlet for the Nintendo. And it was like the Red Knight, Red Warrior is about to die. And that was the game. Are you wanting to come and talk about it too? Is that what you want? Is that what you're doing? Okay. So she's just a constant guest star.
That's okay.
We had a Nintendo until the Nintendo decided to stop working. And at that point, my parents were like, we're not buying you consoles anymore. I think mostly because of a price issue.
Mm-hmm.
So that was when I got my Game Boy Pocket. And it's basically was handheld games until I was like 13. But for me, I still remember how cool it felt when my dad got a Game Genie. And that was for me, that was pretty cool. Like that was the predecessor to for those of you who may not know Game Genie, that was the predecessor to Game Shark. So you basically got to put in like all the cheat codes that were pre-built into this cartridge because you would basically have, because the way they used to do it in other consoles is sometimes you'd like stack the cartridges like right on top of each other. But with Game Genie, you would just put it in first. You would load up the game with the cheats, take that out, and then put in the game you wanted to play, and then the cheats would already be preloaded on the game.
Oh.
But I still remember having my Duck Hunt gun for the combo Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt cartridge. So when we tried to sell that, they took all of our games with the exception of that because apparently every Nintendo basically came with it. And like the place we tried to sell it to was like, we have like 13 of those. I hope you won't be offended if we say we're not going to buy that from you right now because we can't get anyone to buy the ones we already have. Why are we going to buy even more? So
Yeah, makes sense.
Jen, what's your favorite thing and least favorite thing that you have streamed?
My favorite game that I've streamed that is a really good question because there's a lot of games that I've always been like, I'd love to come back to this. I would have to say Fallout New Vegas would probably be my favorite game to stream when the game decides it doesn't want to crash on me. I have only ever in my life, and I say least favorite because not because the game was bad. The game was great. The game affected me so negatively that it caused me to have a physical reaction. And it is the only time I've ever actually had to return a game because of how bad it affected me.
Oh, wow.
And, every content creator and every streamer out there is going to go, October comes around and everyone's playing spooky games. Everyone's playing Resident Evil. Everyone's playing Dead by Daylight. I happened to come across a TikTok of this game called Under Depths of Fear. I want it to be clear that I am in no way disparaging the game or the creators of the game because the game is fantastic. The game scared the hell out of me so badly because I came around a corner and you know how Drew and I showed you how tall I was? An 8-foot tall demon World War soldier just appears out of nowhere in like red and black flashing lights. And that happened about 6 or 7 times to the point where my chest started to hurt.
Wow.
Because of how much it scared the crap out of me. And this is after I had played a game called Beside Myself, which should just be called a game called Crap Myself. So, because, again, great games. And if you have the chance to check them out, I do. Because Under Depths of Fear is basically you are stranded on a sinking World War I ship. And the only other people on there are the demons and souls of those soldiers that have perished. And the ship is sinking. So you not only have to compete with that, but you have to compete with the fact that the water is genuinely rising on you as it goes. And then Beside Myself is very much like if you pause it at certain times, you can tell that the graphics aren't the greatest. But it's I like to call that game jump scare the video game. So again, very great, very inexpensive games. I would have to say because of the physical reaction it caused me, I would have to say that's my least favorite game that I've streamed because I've had other games where I've had like glitches and although Gotham Knights might be a recent one because that final boss can respectfully kiss my ass. So like I've rage quit a few games where I'm like, you know what? That's it. We're done. I'm ending stream. I am tired of this and we are moving on. So but yeah, Fallout New Vegas is my favorite because of its replayability, because of the fact that I know there's a lot of people who follow my content that are also likewise Fallout fans. That if I have really nothing else to go with, a Fallout stream is going to bring in some people for me. It's going to help boost some numbers for me if I might need it.
Yeah.
Or if I just need like a bridge from one game to another until I decide, which one of the 50, 60, 70 games that I own I'm going to play next. So.
Yup. Tell us about your sponsorship with the Havoc Gaming Gummies and how did that come about?
So I decided this year, I have seen a lot of my friends who have been become brand affiliates and or sponsors. And so I said, I want to do that. I want to be that guy who just goes like, but wait, there's more. So I really didn't have too much. I really didn't have too much in the way of experience outside of friends of mine who have their own brand affiliate stuff that I can refer to and go like, well, how am I going to be able to best boost this brand? But I've seen a lot of people who are like, what is it? Like Ghost, I think is one. Gamer Sups is another. And I was like, well, I wanted to try and find something a little bit different because I'm like, everyone does those. So then I happened to come across Havoc Energy, and they had like the guy. I say guys, I'm convinced it's one guy, and his name is Brandon. He's a super awesome guy. They've just started their company, and they have amazing flavors. And for me, what definitely made, because I wanted to be that guy who's like, I don't want to sit there and go, oh yeah, I love their stuff, and I've never tried it. Their stuff doesn't have maltodextrin in it, which is, for those of you who don't know what that was, and I didn't really know what it was either, but the internet is a wonderful place. Maltodextrin is what's in a lot of energy drinks and a lot of energy supplements that will cause the crash. They have 2 flavors. They have Juice Jab and Lemon Love. The Lemon Love is basically lemonade, and it's delicious. I did that It also doesn't give you like a heart spike or anything like that, so it's not like causing you to go like bouncing off the walls or anything like that. But I will definitely tell you, I took the sample they sent me of Lemon Love, and I streamed for about 3.5 hours. No, I'm sorry, I streamed for 2.5 hours, but I had to end because I ended up hurting my neck somehow at that point. Unrelated. I wasn't just sitting there going like, but it definitely gave me the boost that I've been looking for, because the full disclosure, I've got this bad boy sitting right here, and I try not to drink too many of these, but if I do have them, this one's delicious. So, but I like their brand. I like how personable the owner is. I bought the gaming gummies, which actually aren't even called gaming gummies anymore. If I remember the tweet they put out, they've now changed it to gamer gummies. They are delicious, number one. Number two, they're very inexpensive. And that's even with the shipping, because with the tubs and the starter packs you can buy, by default, it comes with free shipping. The gummies, however, do not. The tubs and the starter pack do. So we'll just have to remember to earmark this, and I'll send it to Brandon and go, Brandon, you owe me $5. So I talked about your brand.
Now you got to do it.
So, Captain Jim, if next question, we're getting into some of the really fun ones here. If you suddenly found yourself in the Star Trek universe wearing a red shirt, what would you do?
Well, that depends. Where in the Star Trek universe am I? Because red shirts.
We'll say OG. We'll say OG.
Oh, OG? I'm going to be like, why? What did I do? My last employee review is fine. Why am I being sent to... First off, you sent me with the first officer, the chief engineer, the chief medical officer. Why are all of them here? You guys don't even know my first name. Why am I on this away mission? That is the question I would ask them. But then I also, and Stormy, I don't know if you ever knew this though. Have you ever seen the commercials for Dos Equis, the Mexican beer?
Yeah, some of them. Yeah.
Man on the planet. So the guy who they advertise as the most interesting man on the planet.
Yeah.
He is the only person that was cast as an extra as a red shirt and lived.
Really?
He is legit. If you look it up, his credits on TV include a extra spot as a red shirt in one episode of the original series, and he lived.
Wow, that's awesome.
Which honestly does not surprise me in the least bit. I'm like, you really could not have picked a better man to be the most interesting man on the planet than the most interesting red shirt on the planet. But again, that's why I asked the question. I was like, which generation are we talking Star Trek?
Right.
Because obviously, Picard is in Riker all red shirts. My new goal in life is to learn how to do the Riker sit.
Right.
Where he kind of like leans his leg over the chair. I was like, but if I do that, I know that I'm gonna break a hip or something. It's just bound to happen. So.
You ready? Not that long ago, you shared that you got engaged. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you guys have a date set?
We do. And it is literally in 2.5 months.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congrats.
So this is where you're gonna love this though, because we got engaged back in June of last year.
I remember.
And so we had kind of sat there for probably about a month, because we were trying to decide, like, okay, now we've done this whole thing, now what's next? And so we're like, okay, we need to plan the wedding. So I took a lot of inspiration from my sister, who's been married she's been married now for about 6 years, maybe 7. And her wedding was fantastic. And she was, she told me she had an amazing time. I know I had an amazing time. I still remember when they were exchanging their vows. I'm the groomsman at the bottom of the steps, and all of my other buddies are groomsmen going up. I have officially crossed over into ugly crying. Yeah. And I did that the moment she started walking down the aisle.
Yeah.
all the groomsmen got mad at me that day because they're like, damn it, Jim, we were trying to keep it together. And then they all looked at me and saw me crying, and they all started crying. But we looked at her wedding for a lot of inspirations, and I said, I'd love to, and Stormy, you're gonna love this reference as well, because we had determined at that point what her music she would walk into would be.
Uh-huh.
I still listen to it and I cry, even though I'm pretty sure we're not going with that anymore. And it is the music for anyone who has ever seen Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Yes.
If you remember because remember, with Motion Picture, they had refit the Enterprise from the original series to how it would look in well, technically it's pretty much the same ship through all 6 movies, but in the first one, when Scotty takes Admiral Kirk to the Enterprise and he gets to see the Enterprise and that slow orchestral play of the Star Trek music, that was what she was going to walk out to.
Nice. That's awesome.
And I literally looked at Manny and I said, and she goes, "Why this music?" I said, I even showed her, and I showed her sister, and I showed my sister the scene. And my sister's just like, could you like dial back the nerd for just like a day? We're not asking a lot from you.
But why?
I showed it to her sister because my sister and I just have this relationship where we just like, if we say something nice to each other, I'm just like, who are you and what have you done with my sister? So I showed it to her sister, and they're like, well, why would you do this? And I know she's awake because she's lying down right now, and I know she's going to find us adorable, and I hope you guys all will too. I said, look at the way Kirk looks at the Enterprise. That is how I look at her every single day.
Oh.
And I said,
thanks for melting our hearts. Wow.
and I vaguely remember, Manny going, so what are you saying, on the size of a starship? I'm like, can you just let me be cute for 5 minutes? So, but yeah, no, now we've made the decision because we looked at how much it was going to cost for a wedding. And for just the smaller wedding that we wanted, we were already looking at $10,000 for our wedding.
Wow.
And I said, we both looked at each other, and I love those moments. No, still won't leave me. See, there's my fiance. There she is. So she's, we both looked at each other, and I love those moments where we look at each other and go, we're thinking the same thing, but then we say it out loud at the same time. And we're both like, do we not want to do this? Like, not in like a not get married. Like, obviously we're still very much in love with each other. And I could not find myself with the world. Am
I about to cry? Am I about to cry right now? Because I feel like I'm about to cry right now.
She is my best friend. Let's. Yeah, she is. But here's where you're gonna love this. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna demonstrate this because she's not very much a gamer, but I've gotten her more into gaming as we've been dating and been engaged.
Mm-hmm.
So let me tell you this really funny story that's going to make me lose all of my points with my fiance, because I got her to start playing Fallout 4. She lasted 2 minutes. Because in Fallout how you have like the two joysticks, and that's how you move. So literally, she does this. She just gets up, she just has the gun, and she just goes. And she's fighting a rad roach. She is fighting a rad roach, and she just panics and throws the controller at me and goes, "Help me, I'm gonna die." So
I'm sorry to be laughing, Manny. I'm sorry. That's really cute.
But she's very much a we're very too, and I feel like I've forgotten at this point what your question was initially, Stormy. If you had a question, but
you answered it perfectly. That's all that matters.
We're two very different kinds of gamers. There are times I'll be sitting here, I'll be playing Starfield, I'll be playing Grand Theft Auto, I'll be playing StarCraft. She'll be over here and she is all about The Sims.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I told her, and I'll end this point with this, is that the LA Chargers football team, every year, every football team will release what their new schedule is. So the 2024-25 season has come out. So the LA Chargers decided to release their schedule, but do it in the style of The Sims.
Ah, interesting.
So I was like, good on you for getting some of your peeps in here. So,
So Jim,
Move the cat.
what is the most boring place you have traveled to?
I wouldn't really say there's any place that comes to mind that I would say is the most boring. Like, I know it's one of those things where it's like, well, okay, there's a list, and obviously there has to be something at the bottom of the list. Yeah, I can't really think of some place that comes to mind is like boring, really. Yeah, no, it's man, this is a thinker, because everywhere I've been, it's been super fun. Most boring place I've ever traveled. Oh.
I love how this is the question that stumps you.
Yeah, I know,
I
right?
know. You're just
the question
saying.
where we're like, is this thing on? So
No.
yeah, I don't think I have an answer that's going to be, because we just got back, and this is how I know that I'm more enjoying things now that I never would have enjoyed in my 20s. But Manny and I had just celebrated our 2-year anniversary, and we got to go to Gettysburg.
Mm.
And we went on an actual ghost hunt in Gettysburg, and I'm pretty sure. Hey, do we have a mod in here? Like, I know it's not my channel, but do we have a mod in here that can like get my sister out of here?
As I'm encouraging her.
Yeah, no, you would get along very well with my sister. She's an awesome human being. Wow, most boring place.
It's okay if you don't have one. That's actually an interesting answer.
I would probably have to say, and this is where it's going. There's a reason why I say this.
Mm-hmm.
The most boring place I ever traveled to is Vegas. But the reason I say Vegas is because we traveled through Vegas getting to Arizona for a family trip one year, and I was like 15. So for some reason, we decided to stop at a casino. So like myself and my sister and my grandmother. And I remember being yelled at because I stood like 5 feet from a damn slot machine. They're like, you can't be near that. I'm like, I'm not even touching it. Like, what are you talking about? And then that was about my extent of my time in Vegas, because again, we went cliff jumping, and by cliff jumping, everyone else jumped. I kind of went like, this is really high. Help me. Help me. But I would have to probably say Vegas. Now, obviously, I'm much older than that now. So obviously, if I were to go back to Vegas at some point, I'd probably have a little bit more fun. But I'd probably also cry, because I'd be going out there going, I don't even have enough money for bus fare. So
Vegas is too stressful.
agreed. That's why I live on the East Coast, and I'm like, it's much closer and easier just to go to Atlantic City.
Yeah. I went to Vegas once and I hated it. I'm a social butterfly and I love talking to people. I love it so much. But Vegas, literally the worst.
Yep.
Oh, Captain, my captain. What is the weirdest sleeping dream you have ever had and you're willing to share?
That I ended up on the cast of Star Trek Voyager.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
This is the one that I know most people don't remember too many of their dreams, and it's true. I don't remember a lot of my dreams.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember having the one dream where I was like hanging out with the cast of Star Trek Voyager, and then I woke up and I was just like, where'd you guys go? Where is everyone? Hello. So
nice. That's a great answer. I love it. Moving to the last two main interview questions. These are the fun, the most important ones, but the funnest ones too. If you could have any superpower, which one would you choose and why?
The ability to turn myself into solid steel.
So
mostly because I feel like I would be able to be that guy that you could call upon to go into anywhere, go into a dangerous situation. And I'm just like, it bounces harmlessly off me like the atmosphere. I'm
fine.
gotcha.
Nothing harms. We're a kid.
I am Colossus's younger brother, Chubby Lussus. So
Jolter got it. This is like-
Jolter got it. See, Jolter got it.
shout out to Jolter, man. Just on it.
Jolter's good people.
Yeah. Final question. This is if you pick one, the other disappears.
From reality.
Replicator food or from reality? All of reality. Replicator food or real food?
It's a great start. It's a great Star Trek question. I love this. Wow. Replicator food or real food? I'd probably have to say replicator food. And the reason I would say that is because I feel like the concept of replicators is a great way to solve food crises.
Yes. Yes.
If you're able to take an item, like if you're able to generate and power those replicators off of an item that is extremely a renewable resource,
right.
and oh my, I cannot even, like, there is such a back and forth in the entirety of the show since they introduced replicators. With like, oh, don't give me that replicator garbage. But then you have the one guy who orders a martini from the replicator. It was the season 1 finale of Star Trek, which is sad that I know that. What's outside like? So, but he goes, "Whoo, this is the best martini I've ever had." But I would probably say for economic reasons, I get why replicators are there. I feel like, but I know your question said to do away with real food entirely. It comes with the question of, do we replicate ourselves some rations in case the replicators decide to go? Or because it's a genuine thing that has happened where they're kind of like having to eat, Starfleet protein rations. Just remember, Miles O'Brien was a Union man. You
Great
will
answer.
appreciate this though on a random note, and I don't know if either of you have ever seen 48 Hours.
Yeah.
With Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you happen to miss the 2 Star Trek actors that are in that movie?
I must have because wait, it's been so long. It's been a long. I mean, that was the 80s. So
yeah, it was that movie came out in 82. There's a scene where Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy bust into an apartment trying to find James Remar and Sonny Landham's character.
Right.
And they're met with 2 women who are their girlfriends. One of them is Denise Crosby. And the other is Margot Rose. And a lot of people don't really know that name until I tell them that's Picard's wife from The Inner Light.
Wow. Wild.
And so I sent that to my friend Jeff. Shout out to my buddy Jeff. He's super awesome. He loves to give me grief. And he and I have like a ribbing relationship. So I started off with, Jeff, you're old, right? You remember this movie? And he's just like, first off, don't say that so loudly. And second, yes, I am. What do you want? So why people still talk to me anymore? I have zero clue. This is a phone. People don't call me that much. So
this is a part of the interview where we open up the forum to the floor to the folks in chat to ask questions. But before we do that, Druid, if you haven't already done so, is going to share his links.
I have
guys,
the extra life. I have the extra life link. I also have Captain Jim Raynor's
Twitch link. Yep. Guys, this is the kind of amazing human being that we want to lift up and support on Twitch. Get his content going. He's, I mean, even on, I feel like the extra life is just an amazing, facet to who you are. But you're just a great entertainer, and he's hilarious and just a wonderful, warm, sweet person. So, please take care of him. Go over there, give him all the follows and the subs and the biddies.
Yeah.
Oh, you.
Uh-oh,
Yeah, you kind of cut out for a second there.
Oh, it kicked me out of Discord. That was nice.
Oh,
That's
can you
weird.
hear me now?
You're back.
I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there was a thing that popped up saying there was some performance issues. I think it's everything all going at once on my computer. But hey, one time in an entirety of I don't even know how long we've been talking about. It feels like forever. Is a good thing for me. So yes, it was. You guys are too kind. Like I said, you guys are definitely two content creators who I enjoy. Like and you had talked about this earlier as well, Stormy, in terms of, I think, Druid, you may have touched on it as well, in terms of, what's a struggle? A struggle I have is, and my sister's going to call complete BS on this, is not talking enough. And what I mean is, and it's that's another piece of advice too, for anyone who's wanting to become a Twitch streamer, is that the best thing you can do, see, there she is talk like there's one person there and there's 100 people there. And even if your chat is empty, like, have things to talk about. And
True.
Yeah.
So that to me was, I definitely, like, you two are definitely, for me, great inspirations in that regard.
Oh wow.
Where,
Thank you.
Where, you guys always have, whether it's someone who's, whether it's something that's happened to you in your day, or it's everyone bullying Druid, which is, like America's third pastime next to baseball and apple pie. Bullying Druid is number 3. So you have, it's a struggle for me. And again, I know my sister is going to call me and go, "Why are you lying to these people?" Is the fact that I sometimes get so focused on the game that I'm playing that I'm sometimes like, "Oh my God, people are watching me. They're going to think that I'm like dead or my camera's frozen." Like, we don't want them to think that. Like,
Yep.
what do I do? So that's another thing too, is I like to take the time when I have the time to do so, is I like to go and just stream hop. And I like to meet new people, and I like to see what works for them, because again, not everything that works for them works for me.
Right.
Not everything that works for me is going to work for someone else.
Exactly.
So I can sit here and give them the most general advice, because it's really all I can do. But no, like I said, you guys are always, like, I will sometimes pull up my Twitch, and whether I'm there, like, actually chatting or kind of just lurking, you two are definitely, when you guys are live, are tabs that I pull up on my stream as well, on my browser as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
And then it's you have. My sister's just trying to. My sister's trying to bribe you, so you'll like her better than me. So you like I said, I've. Oh my God! I was about to literally forget to tell this, because I told you this story in the waiting room.
Yeah.
About the worst dad joke experience.
Yeah.
God.
Oh.
Please.
Yes.
How did I almost forget?
Me too.
Oh no.
I don't have to work hard. Listen, I should just get my sister on the phone right now and just go. So, this was probably over a year ago, and I have, like, a lot of times I will have, like, dad jokes in reserve, and that's why I'm just like, I like to always follow this up with, "I'm a riot at parties." So I told a joke. I said, "To whomever has my copy of Microsoft Office, I will find you. You have my word." I was immediately met with a ban from that channel.
What?
I was banned from that channel. This wasn't even like a podcast channel, or like it was a just, I think it was like a just chatting channel. And I put it into chat, and I was like, they'll acknowledge it or they won't. It's fine. I got met with a ban.
I think they didn't get the joke.
Oh, I got banned, and they gave a reason for it too.
Really?
Well,
I got banned for spam.
A joke? A dad joke was spam?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
well.
It's like I told you guys, they're not allowed. They are not invited to the party.
Yep.
I couldn't even begin to tell you what channel this was. So, I probably wouldn't have even said it anyway, because I certainly don't want people to get
Right.
bad rep. Because I'm like, I've had people that have come. I mean, another reason why I say Twitch is definitely improved over the years, and I know we touched on this earlier, is the fact that I don't have people coming in here going, "Hi, so we really like your stream. We were wondering if you would like to buy some subscribers, bits, and viewers. Be sure to hit our website here. We are totally not a bot. You should click our website. We are completely safe." And I'm like, get out of my channel. I've not had one, knock on wood, in over a year.
Yeah.
And
Twitch has gotten better at policing that stuff. Yep.
I don't know if it's the fact that like my security features are that good, or they're like, listen, even a bot message isn't going to help this guy. So, if we could buy him viewers, but they're like, thanks for the $20 and the free sandwich, but I'm gonna go. So,
I just love the "excuse me." Who bans for a dad joke?
I know, right?
Not fun people.
Not fun people.
I've also been watching chat as well, and I don't know if you guys happen to see it as well, because I want to make sure they didn't get missed. But someone did.
Joltzer's question
earlier.
StarCraft
Joltzer, I actually have them. I have them both saved. Don't worry.
Oh, you do? Okay,
I'm
In fact, we're going to get to it right now.
I'm a professional.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to ask it?
Go ahead, Druid. Start with first one.
Joltzer asks, question, StarCraft related, which do you prefer better, StarCraft 1 or StarCraft 2?
StarCraft 2, there's a lot of, for purposes of graphics upgrades, gameplay upgrades, definitely a far easier to maneuver the UI and everything in the game. Story-wise, though, I wouldn't say it's so much a requirement, especially when you get into the later missions of Wings of Liberty, which is the Terran expansion of StarCraft 2, that they start to touch on story points from the first one. But I do say that it's worthwhile to play the first one specifically. There's an expansion because the first one came out in 97.
Mm-hmm.
The expansion Brood War came out in 99. And Brood War allows you to be able to play, I think allows you to play all of them, but the better missions are in Brood War. But in terms of a gameplay, online features, online customization, because you have tons of mods you can play with now, I would have to say StarCraft 2.
Gotcha.
But it's like I think of it more of like a 1 and a 1A.
Right.
More than just like a 1 and a 2.
Yeah. Perfect.
My own Star Kitty has a great, hilarious question that she literally says here that she's been saving this question just for you, Captain Jim. The question is, would you rather have a pet rock that tells dad jokes or a pet cloud that makes puns? Share your reasons why you made that choice. PowerPoint presentation is optional.
All right. Pet rock, because I have a lot of room on my desk, and the rock has its own little nice cubby, just the nice little own nook in my desk right here, just pet rock. And I shall name him Dwayne.
Dwayne?
Yeah. The Rock.
Oh, God. What a great answer. I love it.
I just love the gestures to whiteboard.
Mm-hmm.
Like
that was perfect.
I'm gonna have to steal that. Like, if you can see right here, it's beautiful. I love that.
I love how the cat just like every once in a while it'll just come around the corner and just keeps doing this loop.
Yeah. I'm here. Yeah, it's like a little obstacle course. She hops up on the chair, hops up on this desk.
It's funny. The next audience question, Alex, was literally one that we already asked at the beginning of the interview. But since you wait,
I'm gonna ask it again.
Yep.
Alex Zandria asks, Captain Pickard or Captain Kirk Pickard. Wait, did I say it wrong again?
Yes, you said it wrong again.
Pickard, whatever. I don't even know.
I would just like everyone to know humanity is doomed. We should all just log off. Like,
I'm so
done
embarrassed
here.
for
This has been fun, but I'm gonna head out. So yeah. Oh, bye, friends.
Oh my God. Oh my God. She
But
fell
it's
under
fine.
the desk. All right.
Whatever. What is wrong? I don't know. You're about to get canceled
Oh,
because
okay.
of me.
So
All right.
you know what? I will actually add an addendum to that question because it's a great question to ask a Star Trek fan because you're going to find more people leaning more towards one nowadays anyway. But I feel like that question was also started back when it was just the two of them.
Yeah.
You now have, by the way, they make and here's a really fun thing. So for those of you who are fans of The Lion King,
Mm-hmm.
the old Disney movie,
That's a
Simba's
movie I've
mom,
seen.
yeah, Simba's mom,
Okay.
and her name escapes me. She is by Star Trek canon technicality, the first female and first African American captain in Star Trek, or first, I believe it's the first African American female captain in Star Trek, but also the first female captain in Star Trek.
Interesting.
Because she was a captain in Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home. It's ironic because she ends up captaining a ship called the Saratoga, which is a ship that Benjamin Sisko was on when he fought the Borg, and that shit got blowed up. But the reason why there's more to add to that is because you have Kirk, you have Picard, you have Sisko, you have Janeway, you have Captain Archer, you have Captain Burnham, you have Captain Pike, depending on which version you want, whether you want the I think it's Robert April.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jeffrey Hunter. Jeffrey Hunter played the original Captain Pike in The Cage, which was the first episode technically of the original series. And then Anson Mount became Captain Pike when they introduced him in Star Trek Discovery.
Yep.
And then now you have Captain Saru, who have Captain Burnham. So you have a lot of different captains you can pick from. But the general one that everyone goes with is it Kirk or Picard? Because it's just, those are the two OGs. So my answer is by default Picard because I grew up on TNG, didn't really care much for the original series. I would probably have to say it'd probably still be Picard, honestly.
Nice.
But you have a lot of other people that kind of like. Now, if we're talking Star Trek first officers, not even a question who my favorite is. That's good old handsome Will Riker.
Gotcha. So Starkitty asks a phenomenal question. Another Star Trek reboot movies or OG Star Trek movies?
OG. And I'll tell you why. Because I love and appreciate J.J. Abrams' dedication to wanting to bring back a franchise because you had, what was it? The reboot came out in 2009. Because you had the original Star Trek that went from 66 to 69, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have another Star Trek series until 1987 when The Next Generation came out. You had at least one new episode of Star Trek on the air every single year from 87 until Star Trek Enterprise went off the air in 2005. You had no Star Trek from 2005 to 2009. You had no Star Trek movies past 2002 with Star Trek Nemesis. They bring back the reboots. I love the first one. I think the first one was great to kind of do like an alternate touch on a lot of characters everyone knows. I will die on the hill that they should never have made the second one with Eggs Benedict Cumberbatch. So, because it was such a ripoff of Star Trek 2 that I actually sat in the movie theater and went, boom! So, the OG are my favorite because Star Trek First Contact is the best of all the Star Trek movies. And I know this is the question and answer time, but usually I follow that statement with, and I will not be taking questions at this time.
There we go.
Nice. I like it. So I have I know I just got a question. I hope you don't mind me jumping ahead of you.
That's okay. That's okay.
This is what I was asking you guys earlier. I had my own question. If you had to name your favorite Star Trek series, which one would it be?
By default and for nostalgia purposes, Next Generation, but I always used to find myself binging certain series for a long time, getting tired of watching it nonstop, moving on to the next one, and it was a nice little full circle
Gotcha.
for me. So it would be a rotate between Next Generation, DS9, and Voyager.
Yeah, I feel you. For me, it's very similar in that Next Gen is just it holds such a great spot in my heart. But what I loved about Deep Space Nine is I feel like I got even more into the characters, and I love that it was a contiguous story from beginning to end. You know, they ended it where they began, and they didn't really do that with. I mean, Voyager sort of did right, but not as well. It wasn't as well crafted a total story as Deep Space Nine ended up being. And so I'm just a huge fan of Deep Space Nine. I thought it was just phenomenal writing, you know?
And I don't know if you've ever had a chance to see it, but it got leaked about a couple years ago that someone stumbled across the casting choices that Paramount wanted for certain roles in Deep Space Nine.
Uh-huh.
It was people that either they had reached out to and they had said no, or people that like came to Paramount and said, we want to audition. They auditioned and then ended up saying no. So we almost got James Avery as Benjamin Sisko.
Wow.
And if you know James Avery, that's Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince, which to me, I was like, it's not the worst choice, but it's hard for me to see anyone beyond Avery Brooks.
Hmm.
Peter Capaldi, who you know from Doctor Who, there's the actual audition tape of him auditioning for Benjamin Sisko. And there's like they had reached out to Pierce Brosnan, but this was because Brosnan, at least to me, Brosnan didn't come into really big fame until he hit the James Bond role in GoldenEye 95. So DS9 came out in like 91.
Right.
So this is before then, but I guess he was like, I don't do television shows. I'm like, my name is Pierce Brosnan, blah, blah, blah. So, but it's always weird when you look at those kind of casting choices and you're like, what would this show have been like had A actually been played, you know, instead of actor A, we got actor B. So.
Yeah. You got that next question, Druid, from Alex?
From Alex. Alex. Okay, better question. Do you think a voyage home is overrated or underrated? I love the movie second favorite. First is First Contact.
I feel that a voyage home is right where it should be.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad movie. So many of my favorite lines I didn't realize come from that movie. I literally have a blurb that I made a point to favorite on my blurbs. That's literally the guy running up and nearly hitting Kirk, and I think like Scotty and Uhura were with him. And he goes, "Why don't you watch me walking, dumbass?" And then Kirk just kind of looks back at him and goes, "Double dumbass on you." So
yeah.
You find yourself, because I was like, I'm so used to like the because you had like the amazing special effects of the motion picture, which is a fun story behind the motion picture as to why the motion picture was technically did well at the box office, but it was considered bad, which is why you saw such a huge change from Star Trek 1 to Star Trek 2. But my point being is that it kind of alternates. So like the first one was bad, second one was amazing because that's Wrath of Khan. More people are kind of coming around to search for Spock, but not many people really like it. And then everyone seems to like A Voyage Home. And like everyone likes to, everyone kind of holds A Voyage Home, because a lot of times when you ask Star Trek fans, the list I see go in one order or another. There's three that are always there. It's First Contact, it's Wrath of Khan, and it's Undiscovered Country. And then usually creeping their way up into third place is almost always A Voyage Home.
Yeah, I agree. So Jolter asks a non-Star Trek question. I like this. He asks, are you excited or will you be playing the new Frost Giant RTS Stormgate?
I am ready first in line to get my copy of Stormgate. I'm going to have so much fun. God, guys, what the hell is Stormgate? Please help me out here. I have no idea what that is.
I hadn't heard of it either.
I mean, what a New Year's resolution that I made is that I was going to not only play but also stream more new games that I haven't already done in the past. Like, I didn't want to just do like, hey guys, it's our 9th playthrough of Grand Theft Auto 5. Who's excited? Yippee. So I want to play more new games and learn more new games. Am I going to like every game that I play? Probably not. But I will definitely keep that on my list. And because I do like RTS games, because, you know, obviously being a StarCraft fan, I do like that. But I'll definitely check that out. But I've not heard of Stormgate.
Cool.
You see how well I sold that at the beginning? When I was
It was very good.
I was like, I can't wait. Help me.
Developers who left Blizzard are now Frost Giant. Oh.
Okay.
That's very funny. I love that they call.
So Alex, to your question, because I saw that here. Well, it's not a question, but to your point here in chat. So the guy who did that scene in Star Trek 4 with the boombox, he comes back in another Star Trek series as kind of like a fun homage, and it's a really funny scene too. Specifically, it's in season 2 of Star Trek Picard, which I will tell you right now, season 3 of Star Trek Picard, I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning to watch the new episodes as Paramount Plus was releasing them. And the fact that I didn't wake up my fiance one bit, except for the one time that I screamed out going, "Are you kidding me? It's her!" She didn't wake up one bit.
Wow.
So, good job, me.
So, Drew, do you want to get Will Squidfish's question?
Yep. And then I do also have a question to you that I want to ask.
Yeah. Or do you want to ask that and I'll take Will Squid's?
Sure. Okay, I do have a question. You said that you originally bought all of your equipment to do a Star Trek podcast, and then things fell through, and then you started streaming content on Twitch for Extra Life. Now that you've been doing this for a while now, got your feet wet, would you ever consider trying to start up a Star Trek podcast again?
That's a good question.
Take this question for me. As you can hear, being very vocal about it here in the background. Like, yes. I've definitely considered it. Absolutely. I've been having a lot of fun though with the gaming portion of everything.
Yeah.
That I'm just like, I know, and you're excited too. So it's definitely been on my mind, especially now that I have and I've actually taken some inspiration from other people who do the same thing, where I was like, okay, if I record it like in an audio format, or if I record it kind of like how you guys do it in a video format, and then just kind of edit and upload through an alternate source later. Is that something that I could do? And it's definitely been, it's an idea. Absolutely.
Cool.
I think my whole thing with it is because I would basically be, and I think, I don't know how you guys may feel about this point, but I feel like your guys' content is very fun. You also have the benefit, as opposed to people who are doing shows where they may just be by themselves and don't have anybody on there, and if they're, it's making sure that you are adhering to outline points.
Yeah.
And as you guys have found out, the fun way, boy, when you get me talking, be like, well, we'll just leave the stream here for him. He can take over. It's fine.
It's the point of this podcast, by the way. But
yeah. And trying to keep to that point, but also trying to make sure that I'm not running into that same issue of, am I doing this for fun, or am I doing this because I want to get somewhere? Is anyone really going to listen to this, watch this, or all of the above? Great questions I've constantly asked myself. But I've been having so much fun with the gaming portion of things that I haven't really given too much beyond that into the thought of it. But it could definitely be something, say, within the next year, 2 years, that I thought about taking like a day a week and just doing like a talk format of some kind, whether it be Trek, whether it be sports, whether it be who wants to hear all the sagas of Dragon Ball Z again.
Gotcha. Right on. Well, thank you for asking.
Who wants to hear all the backstories? So,
We're
it.
actually we've gone a little long. I need to come up. We need to do just a couple more questions here, but
We have
no complaints. We've
3
gone
more
long
questions
because
in
we've
chat.
enjoyed listening and talking to you.
Absolutely. It's been fantastic. We have 3 more questions in chat. Those are the last 3 questions we're taking. Will Squidfish, go for it, Stormy.
Which did you enjoy more, Data's story or Seven of Nine's story, backstory, and learning progression after joining their respective crews?
Data story, because as much as I do enjoy 7 of 9, I love the questions. I love the callbacks to her story as well. If you know the behind the scenes as to why 7 of 9 is even a cast member in the first place, it's a bit of a tumultuous time in Trek, to put it politely, because she was not an original cast member by any means, and it basically was an original cast member kind of getting the boot, which is why we had one character leave and get replaced with 7 of 9. Data's story, I feel like there has been so much that you're able to touch on, and I feel like we still don't even really have what I would call an ironclad resolution to Data's story. Like, you have a whole ass episode of Star Trek called Data's Day, and it's literally a day about Data. And it's because I think Data's Day was the episode where Miles and Keiko get married and basically talk about his emotions and his feelings during that whole process. But I would say Data's story is definitely more interesting because you really can't. There's not, like, the only story you're really going to have for 7 at this point is what she plans to do now. Like, she obviously, we have the conclusion of Voyager that really didn't give you, like, you kind of had the last minute sprung together relationship that never gets touched on again from the end of Voyager, which bugged the hell out of me. Now you have her in a better relationship, which I actually do prefer that. But every time they circle back to Data, I don't feel bored. I don't feel like it's a boring story. Like, in a major way, without giving too much away, now that I think about it, seasons 1 and 3 of Star Trek Picard are so Data heavy that I was still entertained by it the entire time.
Nice.
Because I'm like, I'm sitting here going, like, does Brent Spiner not really have anything to do that he's so readily available for this? Because I'm all for it, like, bring him in. But, now you have the conclusion, essentially, of the Next Generation crew with season 3 of Picard. But I would say, to answer the question, it would definitely be Data's story.
Gotcha. Good.
Starkity asks, what do you think about Data's Life Forms song from Generations?
All right, so before I go any further, do either of you know Data's Life Form song?
I haven't memorized, but I remember. I think I remember.
You're gonna love this because I'm actually I know this song. So basically, to give you context, Data has what's called an emotion chip that was created for him by his creator. He has an evil twin brother who is also played by Brent Spiner called Lore, who was built with emotions, but he's evil. So Data always goes his entire life wanting to know what it's like to be human. So they end up finding his emotion chip, and he's always pondered about whether or not to have the emotion chip in there. They put the emotion chip in, but something bad happens, and it ends up fusing into his neural net, so he can't be removed at all. So Data just has emotions. So Picard beams down to the surface. They're having trouble finding him. So Riker comes in and asks him, we're having a hard time. We're having a hard time scanning to the surface. Can you help us? We're trying to scan for life forms. He goes, I'd be happy to, sir. He goes, I just love scanning for life forms. And then he goes, life forms, you precious little life forms, where are you?
It's so cute and hilarious.
Because what makes it even better is the moment he starts doing that, it pans to every other member of the bridge crew, including Riker, just going. And it is just
precious.
It's hilarious.
Yep.
And it's also one of the better moments too, is just seeing Data look at the view screen and go, oh shit. And I'm sitting there going like, he said an HBO word. That's my new favorite thing to say too. Is when people swear, I'm like, don't be using that HBO language with me.
All
We have
right.
2 more questions. I'm sorry. I promise. I'm going to sneak this one in, and then you can get Alex's last one, and that will be the last question. Alex's will be last. I promise,
Okay.
Mia. Are there any South African sports that you follow or would like to follow?
I'm very, very not knowledgeable in that area. I would probably, oh man, I'm trying to think of it too, because there is a movie that I need to see that I want to say it was directed by Morgan Freeman, and it has Matt Damon in it.
Those are 2 names I know. I recognize them.
And I'm trying to remember the name of the movie, but I believe it was about a South African soccer team.
Hmm.
But I would probably say in terms of South African sports, I don't really know too many of them. I'm more like most of the sports I follow are either teams based out of the US or based out of Canada.
Hmm. Fair enough.
Invictus, thank you. There we go.
Nice
Cleansing
job,
Rain.
Cleansing Rain.
Rugby was the sport. I would probably say that because that was the first thing I thought of in my head, and I don't know why, if it was soccer or rugby, but no, I would say probably rugby. If there was a list, I would probably say rugby would probably be the top one, just because that's what I think South African sports, and it's usually either soccer or I guess because of Invictus, rugby.
Gotcha. All right. So last question for you, brother, and then we'll wrap up for the night. This is a simple one. Are you a Metal Gear fan?
Metal Gear fan. I'm a fan of the franchise. Haven't played a single second of any of the games, but I've watched enough. I've watched enough content creators and friends play the game that I'm like, I know who Solid Snake is.
Right.
Okay, at least I know that. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to, like I said, again, I'm trying to get myself into more franchises and get myself into more games that I'd have ease of access to, whether to play offline and try and see if it is my kind of thing, or if kind of like you said, get your feet wet. If it's my thing, it's my thing. If not, at least I can say I tried. So,
Football.
Nice. Great. I mean, a great, honest answer. We appreciate you.
Love it.
I have to share on that note, though, a little bit of interesting trivia about me. Everyone kind of knows that I'm not really, I don't usually play third-person perspective, over-the-shoulder games. But one of the Metal Gear Solid's games was a game that I played and really enjoyed. I don't remember which one it was. I think Star Kitty knows which one it was. It was on the PS3, so it's pretty old. But anywho, I think it was Metal Gear Solid 4, but I'm not 100% sure of that. So, anywho, Captain Jim, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It has been our treat and honor and pleasure to spend time with you. You're amazing. Guys, go see all those links there. Go click on them and support this amazing fellow.
Yes.
We can't wait to chat with you again in the future, and we'll definitely see you in the stream, sir.
Yes.
all right. Thank you guys for having me, and yeah, we have a ton of fun. So thanks for shouting out all those links. More importantly, the Extra Life one, like I said, we get asked the question a lot, and I know every charity does too, is how much of that goes directly to the charity that's being raised. 100% of everything we raise through the campaign goes directly to the hospital we raise for.
Nice.
So, I myself, I don't see a dime of it. We actually have a really big event tomorrow that we're turning a lot of we're hoping to get a lot of support for. It's my first ever merchathon. So I'm going to be, I use those events because we just had a subathon last month,
Mm-hmm.
and we raised, was it $237? between, because I donate 50% of my fourth wall, who runs my merch store, 50% of that payout goes directly to charity. 50% of my Twitch payout for the month of May also goes to charity. And we have a whole bunch of fun. There's a lot. I'm doing merch giveaways as well, and it's gonna be a good time. And our goal this year is to raise $2,000. And if we do that, it'll be the 4th year in a row that we've done that. And as of right now, we sit at $10,162 raised all time.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you again. Appreciate you coming on the show. Guys, go show them the love.
Thank you guys for having me, and I will hope to be back here soon.
Yep.
Awesome. So, Druid, wow. I am so happy that we got to finally have Captain Jim on. Part of me wishes we could have done it sooner, but everything happens at the right time in the right moment. And
yes.
It was wonderful. It was fantastic. Thank you.
So good.
Speaking of great interviews, we're super excited about next week too. I mean, we're always excited.
Every week we're so excited.
It's like the highlight of our week. I would rather be doing this than anything else, 100%. And next week, one of our own friends in the community that we've known for a long time, the lovely, warm, hilarious Bubba Lone Wolf is going to be on the show. And so, guys, go check him out and check out our next episode next week that we're going to have Bubba. I can't wait. It's such a treat and an honor to have him.
Bubba gets the 69th episode, and I feel like he's somebody that would just treasure having that as knowing that he was the 69th episode. I feel like Bubba is going to just brag to everyone.
Yep, he deserves it and he earns it. There's Skelly. She's super happy about that. I love the reaction.
It's his interview is gonna Bubba's interview is gonna be at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Yep, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Yep. And that's it. We're gonna wrap up, but don't forget, tomorrow we're back to D&D, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, and it's gonna be the first mission into the Barbary Worlds for party. So come check us out tomorrow at 3 Central Time. And yeah, I love you all so much. Anything else?
You're the best.
Yes, you are.
Hey guys.
All right, let's do this. Thank you all for coming to the show.
Please drop a like, subscribe, and comment down below.
If you're listening to the podcast,
please rate and review the episode.
We're Bandwidth
and Banter.
Thank you.
And good night.